Have you ever really looked at your computer and just wondered, what's actually running the show inside that box? Well, deep down, there are two key power players making everything happen: the CPU and the GPU. And trust me, understanding the difference between them is absolutely essential to understanding pretty much all of modern tech. I mean, think about it. Why is it that one PC can render this incredible, immersive game world that looks almost real, while another is just a beast at crunching a million rows in a spreadsheet? The secret? Well, it all comes down to the fundamental difference between these two components. By the end of this, you're going to see exactly how this powerful duo works together to define what your machine can really do. All right, first up, let's meet the brain of the whole operation. This is the component that's basically the general manager for your entire system. It's the central processing unit, or as we all know it, the CPU. So what does this brain actually do? Well, the CPU is the ultimate decision maker. It takes instructions from every single click you make, it performs all the critical calculations, and it directs traffic between all the different parts of your computer. When you launch an app, it's the CPU that gets the ball rolling. The CPU's specialty is something we call serial processing. And a great way to think about it is like a brilliant master chef who is meticulously following a super complex recipe, step by perfect step. It's designed to handle one complicated task right after another with incredible speed and precision. And that brings us to its key personality trait. A CPU is all about low latency, which is just a fancy way of saying it's built to respond to a single request almost instantly. It does this by having just a few very powerful, very smart cores. This makes it perfect for doing one thing at a time, but doing it unbelievably fast. That's what makes your computer feel snappy and responsive. But of course, the brain can't do everything by itself. If the CPU is the brain, then the GPU is the muscle. It's not a general manager at all. It's more like a massive, highly specialized team that you bring in to do one specific kind of heavy lifting, and to do it at an incredible scale. So the GPU, or graphics processing unit, actually started its life with a very specific job: to handle everything visual. Its whole reason for being was to rapidly process and render the millions and millions of pixels that make up the images on your screen, making sure your games and videos look perfectly smooth. Okay, so if the CPU is that one master chef, the GPU is like an army of 1,000 line cooks. Each one is just doing a simple task, like chopping a single vegetable. They aren't doing anything complex on their own, but all together they can prepare a massive feast in no time. That's its superpower, parallel processing. And this is the total opposite of the CPU, right? The GPU's whole game is high throughput, which just means getting a huge volume of work done all at the same time. It uses thousands of simpler cores, which makes it the undisputed champion of tackling tons of small tasks all at once. Okay, so we've met our two main players. Now let's put them side by side and really see what makes them tick. And look, this isn't about which one is better, not at all. It's about understanding their fundamentally different approaches to getting work done. So it all starts with how they're physically built. The CPU, remember, it relies on just a handful of brilliant, powerful cores that can handle pretty much any complex task you throw at them. The GPU, on the other hand, is literally an army of thousands of simpler, more specialized cores. And because they're built so differently, it leads to a completely different style of working. The CPU just excels at serial processing. That's one complex task, then the next one, then the next one. But the GPU, it was born for parallel processing, handling thousands of simpler tasks in the exact same moment. At the end of the day, they have totally different obsessions. The CPU is obsessed with speed, with minimizing delays. That's low latency. It wants to give you one answer right now. The GPU is obsessed with volume, high throughput. It wants to give you thousands of answers at the exact same time. So you see, this was never really a competition. It's a collaboration. To get the best performance, a computer needs both the quick-thinking brain and the powerful muscle, working together in perfect harmony. They are the ultimate power duo. And right here, we can see that clear division of labor. The CPU gives us that low latency response that makes your operating system and your apps feel snappy and instant. And the GPU provides that high throughput power that you need for amazing graphics, complex simulations, and yep, it's now the engine behind pretty much all of artificial intelligence. Maybe the best way to think about it is like you're making a blockbuster movie. The CPU is the director, calling the shots, making all the critical high-level decisions. And the GPU? That's the massive special effects team, rendering every single frame of that mind-blowing action sequence. You absolutely need both to create the final masterpiece. And that brings us to the future, because this is where it gets really interesting. The raw parallel processing power of GPUs, well, it's kind of accidentally made them the engine of the entire AI revolution. So as our need to process these massive data sets just explodes, you have to wonder, how is this relationship between the brain and the muscle going to evolve? What comes next for this essential partnership?